And I think I am live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live. Let's get started. So, let's talk about people, right? People say they want love. A lot of people say they want love, but if you look at their actions, more often than not, they say that they want safety instead. So, if you think about it, human beings, we crave love and connection. That's one of our basic human needs according to Tony Robbins. But then if you think about that, then why are more people choosing to stay single more than ever? And so in today, we're going to be talking about this loneliness epidemic and the gap between men and women and the biggest lies we constantly tell ourselves about why we're still single. So if you're new here, my name is Mitchell. I'm a relationship coach, and I'll be talking about the loneliness epidemic is driving men and women apart. So let's start with the top 5 reasons people blame themselves for being single. Okay. So what are the top 5 reasons most people blame themselves for being single? So number 1 is all the good ones are taken, right? If you think about it, if all the good ones were taken, nobody over 30 will ever find love ever again, right? Or, dating apps ruin dating. And if you think about it like this too, if dating apps are the only place you're looking at, your strategy may be the problem, not dating itself. Third one, I'm too old, I'm too short, I'm too whatever, I'm too broke, I'm not attractive enough. Most people aren't rejected because of one number on a measuring tape or on a paycheck. They're rejected because attraction is a combination of many, many things added together, or the lack thereof. Number 4, women only want bad boys and men only want supermodels. When you've been hurt enough, your brain starts looking for reasons or evidence that confirms your worst idea or your worst assumption. And the last one is, I'm happier alone, right? Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to be alone? Is it a preference, or is it more of a protection, or is it a cope? So now let's get into it. The number 1 reason, right? Well, not the number 1 reason, but my first slide that I'll be talking about, which is protection feels safer than connection. So many people, they don't actually choose to be alone. Most people don't say, I want to be alone. Loneliness is not the option. What they're really choosing is safety. Because if you think about it, after enough heartbreaks, rejections, just betrayals, or even divorce, the brain start making a lot of calculations. So in the beginning, you might start asking, well, how do I find love? How do I find love for me right now? And then it begins to start asking, well, how do I avoid getting hurt again? Which are 2 completely different questions. So humans naturally, we do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. So humans naturally, they try to avoid pain because, getting hurt means that, well, maybe my chance of survival kind of decreases. So now if you think about it like this, if every serious relationship has ended in disappointment time after time, staying single can feel like a much safer option. The problem is that safety and fulfillment are not the same things. People convince themselves, which is, I'm happier being alone, relationships are too much work, or people always disappoint me eventually. So, sometimes that's true for like a season or two, but other times, most of the time, it's a cope or a protective story that you constantly tell yourself, because vulnerability, being vulnerable, being open up to a relationship feels too risky. So let me ask you this. If you said to yourself, I don't need anyone, but then you meet someone that genuinely lights you up inside, are you going to pass up on that opportunity? Most people won't. So, number 2, we're mistaking the unpopular. Hello. We're mistaking independence for self-sufficiency. Being capable of living alone doesn't mean humans stop needing connection. But if you look at it from this perspective, never before have we been more capable of surviving by ourselves. You could order food on your phone, online. You could work remotely. You could stream entertainment. I mean, it's Netflix, right? And you could shop online. And if you think about it like this, modern life makes isolation from other people very, very convenient. Why is nobody chatting? I don't know. It's okay though. Modern life, it makes isolation very, very convenient. And going back to Tony Robbins, Tony Robbins often talks about one of our fundamental human needs, which is loving connection. So, and many psychologists also describe close relationships and belonging as a core human need to ourselves, right? The interesting question isn't whether connection matters, it's why so many people struggle to pursue it. And some people say, look, I don't need anyone. And I get it. I've been there before. I've been hurt. And it's easier to just say, I don't want anyone. I don't need anyone right now because it's an easy way out. Learning, understanding, being in the game, in other words. That's how you build resilience. That's how you learn. But then you don't have to keep getting burnout there in order to learn. You could learn it over here. All right. That's the beauty of all this, right? You have the internet. Use it as a tool. Use me as a tool, right? So anyways, maybe they don't need someone to survive. I get it. You know, you don't need someone in your life to survive, and that's understandable. But like I said, there's a difference between surviving and thriving. Not a lot of people want to feel like they're thriving in life, whether it's a personal relationship, whether it's, you know, your career, maybe it's your physical body, whatever it may be. There is a difference between surviving and thriving. Now, if you look at it from this perspective as well, relationships don't just provide romance. I understand it. We want someone to feel like, you know, that cares about us, that loves us, but they also provide a lot of emotional support. There's a lot of encouragement, assuming you're with the right person, right? There's accountability, shared experiences, memories, and there's a purpose. The irony is that we become so independent while so many other people, they constantly say, look, I feel so isolated. I feel so lonely. You know, it's like, well, if you are feeling lonely, look at what your actions are saying. So now, unrealistic expectations keep people single. People aren't not rejecting relationships. They're not just be like, no, I don't want to be in a relationship. They're rejecting a lot of the imperfect ones. Because if you look at it from this perspective, social media has changed the way many, many people think, right? Because we're constantly shown like, oh, there's this perfect proposal. There's this perfect vacation, perfect marriage, perfect bodies, and this perfect lifestyle, which does not exist. It doesn't exist. But then when you see it enough, people start believing in it. And when you believe in it and you're like, well, I'll date when I find someone who checks all my boxes. I will only do this when this happens. It's like, well, then you're just really postponing something from being great if you think about it. So real relationships, right? Not the ones you see online. Real relationships. They are not built on perfection. They're built on having patience. There's forgiveness, communication, shared goals and values, mutual effort. So people stay single because they're waiting for this absolute certainty where, you know what? Once this person checks all my box, I think they're okay. It's like, that's what dating is right now, because on dating apps, that's all you see. It's like a resume, a less formal resume. Now, the reality is every relationship involves uncertainty. Every healthy couple have disagreements, and every long-term relationship, it requires growth. Waiting for this perfect moment or perfection often means waiting a whole lot longer than you want to be, right? So then you want to ask yourself, Are your standards protecting your future or protecting you from taking a chance? And my very last one is self-development creates opportunity. That's what I teach. I'm a relationship coach, but I also teach about life. I teach you about becoming the best version of yourself. So then you don't just settle with anybody that just comes into your life. It gives you options. And then when you have options, you can start asking things for yourself. What do I want in this relationship? What are my non-negotiables? What are good to have? What are nice to have? And what are must-haves in my relationship? That's what self-development creates. It gives you this opportunity so that you can have this abundance lifestyle so that you could pick from what you want. And that's how you have opportunities. But if you don't do this and you don't know it and you isolate yourself and you constantly tell yourself, well, I don't want to be in a relationship because it's too difficult, it's too much work. Most people would end up hurting me anyways. Eventually, you're going to find yourself single for a very long time and bitter and upset when you go to the app store. And let me know if anybody's watching here from, TikTok, because I just announced it over there and here I am over here. All right, so last one, self-development, it creates opportunities. Isolation does not. The answer isn't chasing relationships, okay? I want you guys to really focus on this. The answer isn't chasing relationships. It's becoming someone who can build a relationship. It's becoming that person that, look, if I step into this relationship, I know I could provide a lot of stability, a lot of groundedness, and certainty that things will work, at least on my end. That's what I like. That's me knowing about myself, what I could offer to that relationship. And I am so confident in that I will no longer settle for something that does not work for me. You know what I'm saying? So just understanding that already gives you a lot of selection. You have abundance, you have choice. Now, this is where, right, where most people, when they're chasing relationship, this is where many men and also women, they misunderstand self-development. Self-development isn't about becoming so successful that you no longer need anyone. It's not that. Hey, I was the first. It's about becoming emotionally mature enough to contribute to a healthy relationship. We keep seeing those movies where they constantly tell each other like, "Oh, you complete me," and it sounds great. It sounds very romantic. It's like, if I didn't have you, I wouldn't be happy. And it's like, that's the biggest lie Hollywood has ever said to anybody that's watching it. Couldn't be so far from the truth. The truth is, you're not there to complete each other. You're there to share each other's completeness. So when you get into that relationship, you want to share what you already have. All right. Have a good one. Thank you for stopping by. So you're there to share each other's completeness. So if I'm there and I'm already giving my full 100 and they're there to give that full 100, you no longer need each other, but you like each other. You want each other's company because you enjoy each other's company. And that's basically it. And then you have to look a little bit deeper into it. Like, is this person faking it? Are they consistent with what they say and what they do? Because most people can hide themselves for who they are for at least 90 days. So most people that rush into relationships, they should take the time. Now, having this opportunity to develop yourself into the person that you want to become so that you can become someone that can build a relationship, self-development, allowing this, it makes you able to become more emotionally mature enough to contribute to a healthy relationship, which offers confidence, which you offer communication. There's purpose, there's a discipline, and there's emotional regulation. And so these qualities, they don't eliminate the need for connection. They just make connection healthier. So I want to talk about this other side, which, there's this very, there's this grind type of culture, which is great. I don't think there's anything wrong with building your body, building your finance, building your mental health and all that. I think those are very important when it comes to work, the gym, taking care of yourself, right? Gaming, having some fun, business, travel, whatever it may be. I think these are very important things. But a lot of people, they take it so far and they say to themselves, like, oh, I don't need anybody because I could just do all this by myself and I'm happy. And then they just stay single forever. If you're like, I really don't want to be with anybody, I really, really want to be alone, by all means, that's your life. That's who you want to be. I'm not knocking it if that's who you really are and that's what you want. But if you're watching this, chances are you're probably like, well, I do want someone that is genuinely nice, that lights me up inside, that lifts me up. Like, if you haven't met that person that has done that for you, you haven't really fully understand it. And so, like I said, with all these things people do to keep busy, and like I said, none of those things are bad. It's very, very important. But if you think about it from this perspective, they could start becoming some ways of postponing vulnerability, basically giving relationships and things like that a chance, if they use that to avoid dating and intimacy altogether. Now, a full life should not replace relationships. What I'm saying about full life is, like, maybe you're happy with things they are, right? You got a healthy body, right? You go to the gym. You already enjoy playing some video games or whatever it may be, card games, right? You're settled down in your finances, like your business is going well. You get to travel. You enjoy your work. That's a full life. On paper, at least. But like I said, it should not replace relationships because there's always different areas of your life where you could work on. I need to work on too, right? Everybody has something to work on. And that's the beauty of life. It's the progression of where you could see yourself eventually. So like I said, a full life should not replace relationships. It should make you a better partner when the right person comes along. The goal isn't to become someone who needs nobody, right? Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to become someone who doesn't need a relationship to feel complete, but is fully capable of building one. So let's wrap this all up, okay? With this whole idea of the loneliness epidemic, right? The loneliness epidemic isn't happening because people have stopped wanting love. It's happening because too many people have stopped believing that it is possible. Now, I'd love to hear from your perspective if this video helped you, right? Write down some suggestions, things that has made you think a little bit. And on your way out, don't forget to like and subscribe. All right. Thank you for your time. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.